The story begins as we see a gate being opened with two women watching on in terror. Standing in front of the gate, we meet Xuan. The gate opens, and a mythical beast known as the Kirin steps out. The Kirin asks why he opened the gate, and Xuan says he is there to take its power to heal his sick mother. His arms burst into flames, and he attacks. He lands a devastating blow on the beast's head, but to no avail. He is quickly overwhelmed by the beast's speed and is sent flying. He holds his arm as it appears broken, but he smiles, activating his Phoenix Burst ability. His arm is restored as he attacks once more. He throws a large stone pillar at the beast, but the Kirin shatters it with ease, pushing Xuan back once more. Suddenly, there is an eruption of ice from the ground, and both Xuan and the Kirin are frozen. We meet Shen, the axis of ice, followed by the other elemental axes, earth, wood, and metal. At this moment, we see a baby Kirin emerging from the gate and running off. The Kirin breaks free from the ice while dodging an attack from the metal axis. It transforms into a more demonic form and attacks Xuan once again. Xuan barely manages to defend himself, and after their clash, he is left heavily wounded. The beast kidnaps the two women, and Shen tries to stop him, but his attacks are blocked with one hand, and he is blown away. The Kirin states that the demon realm is now in chaos and that they must find his son to save the two women. 3 years later, we see a village in the Melvins, where we meet a young girl named Sue. She returns home after collecting herbs and greets an old lady as she stops for water. We're introduced to the 6th and 7th elders of the village. They talk about how they've been feeling healthier thanks to the village special elixir. They greet Sue as she runs by, and Sue arrives at the pharmacy, handing over the herbs to the 5th elder. After that, she rushes to find her father, but ends up running right into him, causing him to smash his pot of medicine. Her father is the 3rd elder-in-chief of the village. He cleans up the broken pieces, telling her she needs to be more careful. He hands her some money and tells her to buy a replacement pot from the old master up in the mountains, but he warns her to stay on the path so she doesn't get lost, and Sue sets off right away. Along the way, she meets 3 shady-looking masked men. As they approach her, she gets nervous and tries to hide her money. They tell her they're traveling and looking for the village, wanting a place to rest. She nervously gives them directions to the village, and they head off. But Sue is scared by this encounter and quickly runs off. However, she trips and ends up rolling down the hill. She comes to a stop and realizes that she is now lost. As she gets up, she finds herself in front of a large warning that reads, "The Spirit Fog Hill." Sue looks on as the words begin to glow. A wing brushes against her leg, causing her to scream. She instantly grabs the creature and throws it away, but she realizes it was just a duck. She goes after it and comes to a lake, discovering a naked Xuan. Sue gets flustered at the sight and ends up slipping. Xuan sees her falling and quickly jumps up, but he flies right past her as he saves the duck. Sue can't believe this and falls into the water. Xuan and Sue get acquainted. He wonders why she's out in the middle of nowhere, and she tells him she is looking for the old master to get a replacement pot. Xuan knows the man, so he offers to guide her. As the two of them make their way, Sue asks Xuan why there was a warning about entering the Fog Hill. Xuan explains an old legend. Long ago, there were demons that lived in the Fog Hills. They ravaged the humans, hunting and eating them. But one day, the 5 elemental axes appeared, and together they pushed the demons back and sealed them away. Some managed to escape, so the axes now serve to maintain balance and keep the peace. The pair arrive at the old master's house, and Sue is shocked by the overwhelming stench of alcohol. She admires all the pots and creations on display. The old master emerges from under a mountain of wine. Sue tells him she's there to pick up a new pot and hands him the money. The master tells Xuan to grab the order, so he brings it over, and the two leave. As the sun is going down, Xuan decides to escort Sue back. At the village, the elders are alerted as they hear the town bell ringing. At the gates, the 3 masked men from earlier are attacking. 2 of the guards are already dead, with one wounded and begging for help. One of the masked men runs up, and the sixth elder appears wielding his dual blades. He exchanges blows with the man but is quickly overpowered, getting kicked away and stabbed with his own blade. The fifth elder jumps down and joins the fight. He charges with his spear and holds his ground, showing he is more skilled than the sixth elder, even managing to land a hit on the man. But then the second man joins the fight. The two men launch an attack together, throwing their blades while charging at the fifth elder. The fifth elder blocks the two blades but ends up being stabbed by their abnormal arms. The seventh elder tries to help by firing explosives, but the fifth elder also gets blown away as he coughs blood. The seventh elder continues to fire, but one of the men deflects an explosive right back at him, causing him to suffer a heavy injury. One of the men rushes to finish off the fifth elder, but just before he can strike, Xuan appears and holds him back. In an instant, Xuan is on top of one of the men, with the other caught in his hand. A bird's face is revealed as his mask falls off. Xuan activates his flame and incinerates the beast. The elders and Su are shocked to see Xuan, and they recognize him as the Flame Axis from the legends. Elsewhere, we meet a young boy named Dan as he chases away a bunch of kids that are stealing his food. The kids get away, but Dan suddenly sees his brother Quinn, who has just returned from a long trip. Dan is overjoyed, hugging his brother, and the two share a moment as his brother gives him a gift of his favorite red fruit. But the moment doesn't last long as they notice the disturbance coming from the village gate, so they hurry over to see what's happening. At the gate, the chief orders everyone to retreat and regroup. They help the wounded back inside and decide to leave the rest to Xuan. The masked man undergoes a transformation, with feathers emerging, revealing his true form as a peacock. The two begin to fight, and at first, they seem evenly matched in both speed and power. But the peacock dives at Xuan and uses a breath attack, blowing him away. The peacock follows up with a flurry of blows, which Xuan barely avoids. Xuan stops his attack, activating his flames, and blasts the peacock away. He then uses his flames to boost his speed, delivering a ferocious blow. The peacock is blasted off and runs away. The elders regroup with the villagers, who are in shock at seeing their injuries. Quinn tries to treat the fifth elder's wounds, and the chief tries to calm the villagers down. He tells them they were attacked by demons and need to prepare weapons, but the peacock suddenly lands behind him, paralyzing the chief with fear. The peacock detects a particular scent on the chief and asks him for a certain location. The chief panics, unsure of what he's talking about, but Xuan flies in, kicking the peacock away. He pins the peacock down, but the peacock charges its breath attack at the villagers. Xuan blocks the blast but leaves himself open, allowing the peacock to swoop in and slash his arm and leg. Injured, Xuan asks if he's aware of what the humans have done. The peacock spreads its feathers and begins to glow, saying it will show Xuan their true nature. As the villagers stare at the peacock's feathers, some start screaming as they begin to turn purple. Even the sixth elder is affected, transforming into a demon. The peacock absorbs those who transformed, turning them into dust and using their essence to undergo its own transformation. It gains a new humanoid appearance and takes a moment to reflect on its new form. It reads the old lady's mind, discovering the location of what it's looking for, then takes off, leaving Xuan on the ground healing his wounds. Xuan's hair turns to flames as his power surges. He puts on a mask and quickly chases after the demon. The sixth elder remains, running wild in his demon form, killing villagers and even attacking his own son. Quinn dives in to save the kid, but the sixth elder corners them, stabbing them with his claws. Dan is horrified and rushes to save his brother, striking with a stick, but he ends up getting skewered instead. The sixth elder realizes what he's done and asks Quinn to kill him before he can do any more harm. Xuan catches up with the demon, and their battle continues. He begins to struggle against the demon's new form. The demon attaches its aura to him, pulling him back after every hit and landing a heavy blow. Kicks him up the mountain. When the dust clears, Xuan is relatively unharmed and appears to have ascended to a more powerful form, with his body glowing with flames. Xuan's speed and strength are massively enhanced as he chases the demon. He uses his flame whips to catch it, kicking it into a mountain. The demon retaliates with its feathers, gathering them together to create a massive drill-like attack. Xuan attempts to stop it, but it pushes him back, cutting his throat. Reaching deep within his power, he rips the attack in half, flying toward the demon and striking it in the chest, causing its heart to combust. He attacks with a mad barrage of strikes before smashing the demon into the ground. As the dust settles, the demon has reverted to its peacock form. Xuan has a chance to talk to the demon, asking how it turned the humans into monsters. The demon tells him to enter the tunnel behind him to find the truth. But at that moment, the chief arrives in a panic, saying no one is allowed to enter. As he runs, he slips on a branch, dropping a vial and spilling out his elixir. Xuan picks up the strange pill, sniffs it, and quickly realizes what it is. He rushes into the tunnel, finding the Kirin's son and seeing it chained in a cage, used as the source of the elixir. Xuan is enraged at the sight. He rescues the Kirin, and as he carries it away, the peacock vows that the demon world will come to take the Kirin and that the humans will atone for their sins. Su is speechless as Xuan walks right past her. The next day, Su is with her father as he awakens. She asks why they were attacked by demons. He reveals that 3 years ago, a devastating plague struck their village. More than half the villagers were infected, and they were unable to find a cure. But one day, the Kirin appeared, and one of its scales fell into the well. After drinking the water, the villagers were completely healed, so they captured the Kirin and made their elixir from its scales. The first and second elders returned to the village, shocking the chief with their faces. Prolonged use of the elixir has changed them, and the first elder wants to get the Kirin back. Su volunteers to help, saying she's acquainted with Xuan, so the first elder sends his associate Kai with her, saying he'll catch up once he's adjusted to his body. Deep within the fog hill, the primal demons Asmodeus, the beast of insanity, and the beast of greed are sealed away. They receive a report about the peacock's death. Asmodeus senses that Xuan must be weakened after the intense battle and seizes the opportunity to capture the Kirin. He commands his 3 demon generals to pursue Xuan. The smaller demon, Zhu Ying, suggests working together, but Shan Zhu dismisses the idea, and they go their separate ways. The lesser demons scatter as the flame axis, Jin, appears, joined by the other elemental axis. They felt a disturbance in the seal and noticed the peacock demon's absence. The metal axis examines the barrier and concludes that when Xuan was severely injured 3 years ago, the fire seal likely weakened, leading to a hole in the barrier. The axis speculate on how the peacock might have escaped, with the metal axis noting that the peacock had the power to split its body. A bird arrives with news that the peacock demon has already been defeated. They are shocked, but realize only Xuan could have done this. The metal axis orders Jin to repair the fire seal and tells the others to return to their posts. Meanwhile, Xuan, along with his duck companion Su, heads into Fog Hill with the Kirin, determined to save his mother and friend. As they journey, Xuan suddenly experiences intense pain in his neck. Su and Kai reach a lake in Fog Hill, where Kai warns Su to stay alert for demons. Using her powers, Kai senses the Kirin nearby. Su fills her water bottle, but is startled when she sees a face in the water. 2 demons appear and charge at Su, but Kai intervenes, fighting them off. She quickly dispatches the crab demon and finishes off the other with a shot from her bow. Su is relieved, but is reminded that the danger isn't over as Zhu Ying suddenly appears. Kai tries to shoot him, but he blocks it with water and closes in to fight her with his fan, firing blades that push her back. Realizing Zhu Ying is a tough opponent, she decides to work with Su. They split up, and Su shoots at Zhu Ying with her crossbow from different angles. Kai charges in to stab him, but Zhu Ying blocks her attack with his mouth. He then charges up a lightning attack, shocking both Kai and Su. Zhu Ying is about to finish them off when Xuan arrives, delivering a powerful punch that throws Ju Ying away. Ju Ying recognizes Xuan as the flame axis and believes he has the upper hand because of his ability to manipulate water. He crashes into Xuan with a water attack, but Xuan activates his fire, creating a massive flame that vaporizes the water, burning Ju Ying and reducing him to his primitive form. Xuan prepares to finish him off, but is suddenly overwhelmed by pain in his neck. Ju Ying seizes the opportunity, swelling up to self-destruct, and explodes in a massive burst of water that sweeps everyone away. Elsewhere, the fifth elder receives treatment from the first and second elders. His wounds are severe, so they use the elixir to heal him, allowing demonic energy to enter his body. When Xuan regains consciousness, he discovers that Su is missing but still has the Kirin. As he stands, he notices Kai beside him, with a strange mark on her shoulder. She wakes up and, mistaking his concern, slaps him before leaping away. At that moment, another demon named Jiao Y appears, holding a grudge against Xuan. Jiao Y reveals that he has trained for the last 10 years to take revenge, but Xuan doesn't remember him. Jiao Y attacks with his sword, and his orb splits into multiple attacks. Xuan gains the upper hand, disarming Jiao Y and attacking with his fire, but he suddenly remembers the demon's old wound. His neck pain flares up, causing him to lose power, and Jiao Y kicks him away. Xuan then recalls that 10 years ago, he was the guardian of Fog Hill, where Jiao Y and his friend Y tried to escape. Xuan vowed never to let them leave and harm others. Y was weak and near death, and Jiao Y, desperate to save his friend, attacked Xuan, but Xuan easily overpowered him. Xuan was about to finish Jiao Y off when Y intervened and was instead mortally wounded. Jiao Y became enraged, charging at Xuan, who responded by creating a flame sword and severing Jiao Y's arm. Back in the present, Jiao Y claims they were only trying to survive. Xuan prepares to fight, but his power is inhibited by the parasite in his neck, and Jiao Y easily overwhelms him, calling him a disappointment. Jiao Y attacks with spikes from his tail, but Kai defends Xuan, blocking the spikes, though she drops her pouch of elixir pills. She realizes she has been poisoned and notices that Jiao Y has taken the pouch, recognizing the Kirin's scent on it. Xuan attempts to use his divine power, but the parasite in his neck prevents him. Jiao Y prepares to finish Xuan off, but a green flame suddenly hits Jiao Y, and the flame axis Jin appears. Meanwhile, Su wakes up with no memory of her past, revealing that she lost her memories 3 years ago after falling ill. Su says she's looking for Xuan and the Kirin to find answers. Su thinks she should leave Fog Hill while she still can, but Su boasts of being a powerful sage currently sealed in a duck's form. They decide to stick together, with Su leading the way to track Xuan's scent. Jin approaches Xuan and, suddenly grabbing him, blames him for their mother's death. It's revealed that they are brothers, and Xuan insists their mother is still alive and that he is on his way to save her. He explains how he spent the last 3 years searching for the Kirin and is headed to the Aegis Tower, where he can exchange the Kirin for their mother's life. Jin is skeptical and punches Xuan in the face, but flame seeds fall, reminding Jin of their past. In a flashback, we see the Fire Clan, where Xuan outperforms all the other boys, demonstrating his mastery of fire and earning the top grade. He proudly tells his mother, who prepares a celebratory meal. Xuan then asks her if there's a way to quickly improve one's control over fire. His mother understands he's asking for his brother's sake, but tells him there are no shortcuts. Xuan mentions the Barren Flame, rumored to boost fire control instantly, but his mother sternly warns him that countless people have died searching for it in their clan's forbidden area, and she forbids him from going there. Despite the warning, Xuan sneaks into the forbidden area, but slips and nearly falls to his death, narrowly avoiding spikes and dodging bursts of magma. He lands safely and is horrified to find skeletons of those who previously sought the Barren Flame. After hours of searching, the extreme heat takes its toll, and Xuan believes he's doomed. Suddenly, a flame whip ensnares him, burning his arm. A flame demon emerges, holding the seeds of the barren flame. The demon mocks Xuan, questioning why a child like him would think he could obtain the barren flame. The demon senses Xuan's potential and asks why he's seeking a shortcut. Xuan insists it's for his brother. The demon drops the flame seeds into the lava to taunt him, but Xuan, determined to help his brother, bursts with divine energy, frees himself, and plunges his hand into the lava to retrieve the seeds. The demon is shocked as Xuan overpowers him, grabbing him by the neck. The demon recognizes Xuan's power and submits, revealing his mission to await the true heir of the Fire Clan. Swearing allegiance, the demon merges with Xuan, and the barren flame is revealed. The demon instructs Xuan to refine the flame into seeds to harness their power. Meanwhile, Jin struggles to control his flame during training. Xuan appears and forces a seed down Jin's throat, promising it will lead to a breakthrough. Shortly after, Jin passes his next test, but notices that Xuan's name isn't called. Jin rushes home to find Xuan refining more seeds for him. Feeling guilty that his brother lost his spot because of him, Jin is met with only encouragement from Xuan, who is simply happy for his brother's progress. Back in the present, Jin begins to believe in Xuan's plan, but their reunion is interrupted by Jiao Wei and the reappearance of Zhu Ying. Jin transforms and charges at the two demons, exchanging blows with them. Zhu Ying crashes into him and shocks him with lightning, but Xuan intervenes and beats Zhu Ying down. However, Xuan is still injured, and Jin fights Jiao Wei, countering his orbs with flames. Jiao Wei prepares a massive attack, and Jin responds with a charged flame. Their attacks collide, and Jiao Wei starts to overpower Jin. But Jin splits his flame to launch another attack, creating a ring of fire to protect himself from Jiao Wei's orbs, which then incinerates Jiao Wei, causing him to fall. Jin catches his breath, but Zhu Ying suddenly captures him, shocking him with lightning. Xuan, still unable to fight back, watches helplessly. However, Zhu Ying is suddenly frozen as Shen makes his appearance, rescuing Jin. Zhu Ying tries to escape but is cornered by ice, and Shen freezes Zhu Ying completely, shattering him into pieces. Shen approaches Xuan and slaps him across the face, still harboring resentment for what happened 3 years ago. He bitterly reminds Xuan of how he failed to protect their sister and their mother. Jin, eager to uncover the truth, demands to know what really transpired. The scene shifts to a flashback, where we meet Shen's sister, Yuanshu. We learn that she was sent to the Fire Clan to aid Xuan in controlling his volatile power. Shen was concerned for her safety, but Yuanshu reassured him that it wasn't a dangerous mission. In the flashback, we see Yuanshu training with Xuan while their mother observes. Xuan, determined to improve, decides to go all out, but Yuanshu skillfully counters his attacks using her water abilities. However, when her water is absorbed into Xuan's body, it causes his power to spiral out of control. Yuanshu is thrown back, and Xuan, overwhelmed by his power, charges at her. Just in time, their mother intervenes, shielding Yuanshu and absorbing Xuan's raging flames into herself. However, we soon learn that the flames consuming her body are irreversible, and the toll is too great, leaving her with little time left. Xuan recalls the legend of the Kirin and realizes that Jin had ventured to Angus Tower to save their mother. Then Shen reminds him that his reckless actions have threatened the 1,000-year peace with the demons. Shen, noticing the Kirin, decides to take it away, telling Xuan that he has grown too weak to complete the task. Xuan, desperate to atone for his mistake, pleads with Shen for a second chance, but Shen coldly walks away. Suddenly, Xuan unleashes his divine power, charging at Shen with a barrage of fire attacks. Shen barely manages to block, and the force of their clash sends them both reeling. Shen, stunned by Xuan's remaining strength, realizes he must return to reinforce the water barrier. Reluctantly, he hands the Kirin back to Xuan but warns that if Xuan fails to save Yuanshu, he will end him. As they prepare to depart, the two brothers notice Kai, a member of the Wood Clan, paralyzed from Jiao Wei's earlier attack. Xuan decides to bring her along. Meanwhile, back at the village, repairs are underway. villagers approach the chief, inquiring about the condition of their loved ones who were injured during the demon attack. The chief reassures them that everyone is fine and receiving treatment outside the village. But in reality, those villagers are being held in a dungeon and used as test subjects to study the effects of the elixir. Meanwhile, the fifth elder, having recovered and even grown stronger thanks to the elixir, is approached by Quinn, who asks to become his disciple. The fifth elder questions Quinn's motives, and Quinn explains that he felt powerless during the demon attack, and now wishes to learn how to fight so he can avenge his brother and protect the village. The fifth elder agrees to train him, but as they walk, Quinn mentions rumors spreading through the town that the elixir caused the villagers to transform into demons during the last attack. Quinn, however, believes this to be impossible, pointing out that Sue also took the elixir for her illness without transforming. He speculates that there might be two different versions of the elixir. The fifth elder suddenly turns on Quinn, pinning him against a wall, overtaken by his demonic energy. He nearly delivers a devastating blow, but narrowly misses, warning Quinn never to speak of the elixir again. Elsewhere, we find Sue and Sire lost and exhausted. Sire devises a plan using special herbs he has collected, which are known to be the Kirin's favorite food. He intends to lure the Kirin rather than searching for it. They prepare the herbs, and Sire concocts 3 different vials. Sue questions why there are 3, and Sire explains that ancient texts describe 3 distinct scents the herb can emit. They try the first vial, but it produces a foul odor, causing them to vomit. Moving to a new location, Sire tries the second vial, which has a pleasant fragrance, attracting a flower from the water. However, as Sire examines it, a monster suddenly appears, forcing them to flee. As they are about to be eaten, Sire uses the first vial again, destroying the creature in a single strike. Although Sue is exhausted, Sire remains confident that the third vial will succeed. They try it, but initially, nothing happens. Just as they are about to give up, they hear a noise from a bush and excitedly approach, only to find it isn't the Kirin. Meanwhile, Kai awakens to find her wounds bandaged, with the Kirin resting nearby. She considers taking it, but realizes she's too weak to escape in her condition. Xuan enters the room, relieved to see she's recovering, and asks for her help in applying medicine to his back. She notices that he has been infected by a parasite, which will severely limit his abilities and cause excruciating pain if he tries to use them. Xuan asks if she knows how to cure him, but she admits she isn't strong enough, offering medicine to temporarily suppress the symptoms instead. Xuan suspects the peacock demon planted the parasite in him, but remains determined to continue his mission. Jin insists on joining him, though Xuan advises him to maintain the barrier. Eventually, Xuan agrees to let Jin accompany him. Meanwhile, the second elder searches Fog Hill for the Kirin. Suddenly, he spots something Sue has been captured by a strange stone creature. The second elder transforms into his yellow form, smashing through the cage to rescue Sue before switching to his purple form to escape. But their path is blocked, and the creature surrounds them. The second elder turns yellow again, smashing one of the walls, but it regenerates instantly. Realizing the creature can identify his power boosts, he tells Sue to grab a flare from his belt and throw it when he creates an opportunity. The second elder goes wild, smashing the walls to create a diversion. Sue manages to launch the flare, but the creature, realizing they are calling for reinforcements, tightens its grip on them. Just then, the first elder and Kong arrive, and the creature senses their presence, becoming frightened not by them, but by Shanju, who is approaching. The first elder and Kong are knocked aside as Shanju charges at the stone creature. The creature transforms into a giant turtle, attempting to trap Shanju with stone, but Shanju's skin is impenetrable. He breaks free, but the turtle tries another sealing technique. Shanju counters by shooting out a strange goo, reducing the creature's regeneration speed. Covered in the goo, the turtle is no match for Shanju's strength, and he crushes it with a single punch. Shanju grabs the second elder and takes his pouch of elixirs, but a blade suddenly flies past. The first elder has recovered, and Kong smashes into Shanju, pushing him back. Despite Kong's iron body, Shanju starts to overwhelm the duo, even severing the first elder's arm. As Shanju prepares to finish them off, he is hit by an arrow from Kai and ensnared by Xuan's flames. She checks on the first elder, who instructs her to seize the Kirin when the opportunity arises. Sire and Xuan reunite, with Sire warning Xuan to be cautious against Shanju. Recognizing Xuan as the one who defeated the peacock demon, Shanju consumes an elixir he took from the second elder, transforming into a more powerful form. Xuan and Jin team up against him, but Shanju easily counters Jin's attacks. Xuan restrains Shanju, and Jin blasts him with fire, but Shanju breaks free, smashing Jin away. Xuan, now on his own, begins to falter, taking a beating from Shanju until he manages to create flame swords and stab Shanju in the chest. Yet Shanju retaliates, slamming Xuan into the ground. Jin returns, and the brothers launch a combined attack, but it's not enough. Jin is blasted away and pinned down. Shanju prepares to deliver the final blow, but Xuan defends his brother, cutting through Shanju's attack. However, Xuan is suddenly overwhelmed by pain from the parasite, and Shanju, disappointed by Xuan's weakened state, taunts him. Kai wants to help Xuan, but the first elder reminds her that her priority is the Kirin. Shanju moves in to finish Xuan, but Jin breaks free and blasts Shanju away. Xuan quickly seals his wound, but Shanju comes back, smashing Jin again, pushing Xuan to his limit. In a final burst of divine power, Xuan removes the parasite from his body and lands a series of powerful strikes, obliterating half of Shanju's body. Shanju attempts to fight back, but Xuan blocks his attacks and delivers a final flaming strike, incinerating Shanju and everything around him. Everyone is stunned by the display of power, but Xuan collapses from exhaustion. Jin is also alive, but is suddenly taken hostage by the first elder, who demands the Kirin. Xuan has no choice but to comply. Kai, realizing the first elder's true intentions, hesitates, but the first elder reminds her that she needs the elixir to enhance her wood abilities, warning that without it, she will fade into obscurity. Kai, torn between her duty and her conscience, finally takes the Kirin, but the area begins to collapse. The first elder throws Jin aside, causing him to fall off a cliff. Xuan, too drained to save him, manages to catch Jin with his whip, but as Jin is pulled up, Xuan slips and falls. Despite this, Xuan is content knowing his brother is safe. Suddenly, the first elder reappears, stabbing Kai from behind and fleeing with the Kirin. Meanwhile, deep within Fog Hill, the fire seal weakens, and Asmodeus seizes the opportunity to break free. Unleashing his power, he shatters the 5 elemental seals, finally freeing himself after 1,000 years. The other demons cheer as Asmodeus declares that the time has come to reclaim the world from the humans. And that's where this story ends. Remember to like and subscribe to the channel. Thanks for watching, and see you next time.